Dale Sherm, more to the topic of Ohio State football, just asked, based on what you guys have seen through 2 games and what you know of covering this team day after day after day after day, who are the leaders on this team? Steve?
I would go with Chase Young, obviously, which it helps when one of your best players, if not arguably your best player, is one of your hardest workers and most vocal leaders. And when practice ended today, he went over and spent time with the military personnel who visited practice and stayed and lingered and talked to those people for as long as anybody on the team did. And that's just another example of how genuine he is. So when your All-American candidate is your hardest worker, most genuine guy, and seems to be very humble. I mean, he came in after the game, and Ari Wasserman asked him, Chase, got to ask you about those hands. And he just smiled and said, I knew it was coming. You knew the question was coming right out of the gate. So he's got some character and some leadership there. Jordan Fuller at safety, I think, is another one of those guys. Robert Landers is a guy with a smile on his face all of his time, but he also puts his arm around the young guys and shows them what to do. So those 3 or 4 right there. Tuff Borland is kind of a leadership type guy, I think, behind the scenes at linebacker. And then over on offense, KJ Hill is tremendous, I think. He's in his 15th season, I think, with Ohio State at wide receiver from Arkansas, and it means as much to him as it means to anybody on the team, how well that they do. And if they make it to 14 games and he catches a pass in every game the rest of the way, he's going to tie Gary Williams, who played there with Arch Leister in the late 70s and early 80s, for the most games consecutive, at least one reception, 48 games, which would be tremendous. He's also going to leave with the most catches in Ohio State history. He's about 37 away, and he should get that easily. He's getting 4 and 5 a week right now, so that should not be a problem. But I look at him, they talk about Fields, even though he's just a second-year college guy. He is the quarterback. And after laying back the first few months he was at Ohio State, he's starting to come to the forefront a little bit. And I think Dobbins is that way too. I think he's a guy that can rally some people around him and give that extra effort when they need it. So you got some guys there. I think there's probably others. I mean, it's a larger than normal senior class at Ohio State this year. They have 7 captains, 5 of them are seniors and 2 of them are juniors. And so, it's a varied group, and I think that the leadership is where they needed to be for this team.
Yeah, I'd agree. This is Chase Young's defense. And Urban Meyer would always say when your best players are your best leaders, you've got something good, and they've got something there. Steve mentioned Justin Fields. I think of a moment in that game late where Ohio State is winning big, and Benjamin Victor is trash-talking somebody from Cincinnati, and Fields went over and grabbed him and said, we don't need that. And that's a sophomore making a second start, talking to a senior who's been around for a while. And when we talked to Justin Fields, I think on Tuesday, he said that, Ryan Day has told him that there's no need to trash talk when you're winning that big, which I also think means trash talk when the game is still close. And
he said there's no need to trash talk when you're blowing them out.
Yeah. So, which is
Take
trash
that,
talk.
Cincinnati, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
And so this is a situation where each week Justin Fields has talked about the leadership that he's learning to utilize. And after the first week, it was, I can't let this team have a letdown on offense. That's my job to make sure it doesn't happen. And so, and we see, they did not have a letdown in that game. And then he's also pulling seniors aside in his second start saying, hey, chill out. And so, if this becomes Justin Fields' team on offense, that's great. But like Steve said, KJ Hill is there. Austin Mack and Benjamin Victor are both seniors. Even Thayer Munford, a junior, second-year starter on the offensive line. They've got guys, Brandon Bowen. There's a lot of guys out there who can provide leadership. But when it's your 2 or 3 or 4 of your best players, then you've got something. And when it's guys who don't necessarily play, we'll see how it goes. But these guys are all playing, and they're playing well right now.